Hi everyone, this video is for Mrs. Torigno's Geometry C classes. To review for your test tomorrow, I asked you tonight to do 4 problems off of the section quiz handout that I gave you. These were multiple choice questions, but these were the problems that I feel like we probably need the most work on before our test tomorrow. The questions that you were required to do were 8, 10, 11, and 13, and these are the questions that I'll be going over here in this video. So let's start with number 8. And bear with me, I know my handwriting's not the greatest on this thing. Number 8 gives me that B is the midpoint of AC. Okay, and that's important to know. So this tells me that I'm going to set up my picture by drawing a segment, AC, and then putting a dot right in the middle and calling it point B. So here's what that will look like. Sorry, I'm messing around with my colors a little bit. So I'm going to call this segment AC. Point B is going to go right smack in the middle. And of course, if this is the midpoint, I know that these two pieces are congruent to each other. That's going to be important. So then it tells me that AB is equal to 8V. Now that does not mean V equals 8. 8V means 8 times some number I don't know. And then it tells me that AC, so the entire thing, is 2V plus 42. And it wants you to find this length. Well, we do know something about that already. We know that that's equal to 8V, but we're not going to be able to, that's not going to help us unless we know what V is. So let's think about the relationship that we have here. We have 2 smaller segments from A to B and from B to C, and when I put them together, I know that it has to equal that whole thing. Okay? So to set up this equation, I would probably start by saying 8V plus something, which is whatever BC is, has to equal 2V plus 42. Okay, because this small piece plus this small piece has to equal the whole thing, which is 2V plus 42. And if I know that this B is a midpoint, these little markings, remember, right here, mean that these two segments are equal. So if this is 8V, then this over here has to be 8V as well. So I should be able to add together 8V and 8V to get the total. So 8V plus 8V equals 2V plus 42. Okay, so now I've moved some things around on you, but this is the equation that we're working with right here. 8V plus 8V equals 2V plus 42. Now, I see a lot of people in this situation getting this part right away. They say, okay, I know I'm going to have to do 8V plus 8V, and then they just want to say, oh, well, that's 16V. You're right that it is, but we know from this situation that this plus this has to equal the total. And you're not going to be able to solve if you don't have 2 separate quantities that you're talking about. So that's why I set this up this way. However, if that's what you're thinking, you are right that 8V and 8V together make 16V. And that's going to equal 2V plus 42. Now I'm going to go about solving. Okay, so here's my brick wall. And from here, because of this, the left side here only has V's, I want to move these 2 V's over here to this side. So I'm going to do that by subtracting 2V and subtracting 2V. And that's going to leave me with 14V. That's gone, equals 42. From there I would divide by 14 and divide by 14. And we find out that V is equal to 3. Now, that's not what the question asks. Okay, the question says, what is the length of BC? Well, up above, we know that BC is going to be the same as AB, and AB is 8V. So to find BC, I'm going to do 8 times what I now know V is, which is 3, and I find that BC is equal to 24. And that is my final answer. Okay. So draw the diagram, set up an equation, solve the equation, plug it back in. Those are your 4 main steps here. Okay, let's look at the next one. So now number 10 says that GJ, ray GJ, try saying that 10 times fast, bisects angle FGH. So I want to start by drawing a picture of what that looks like. I'll start by drawing angle FGH, and that means the letters would go on it in this order with the G down at the vertex. And then ray GJ means it's going to be a ray that starts at G and goes out, and we're going to call that J. And the other important thing to know here is if this bisects, that means it cuts into 2 equal pieces. So when we mark this, we want to mark that this and this are equal to each other. Okay, that's going to be important to know. Then it gives us some measurements. It says that FGJ, so FGJ would be that angle there. FGJ is 7x minus 9. And HGJ is 2x plus 36. Okay, and we're going to need to find x to be able to solve this one. Well, if it bisects, if the word they used up here is bisect, that means these 2 angles are exactly equal to each other, because that's what a bisector does, is it cuts it into 2 equal pieces. So I can set up an equation by saying that these 2 pieces are equal to each other. I can say 7x minus 9 has to equal 2x plus 36. Split my line down the middle. And now let's start moving some things around. There are a couple of ways you could go about this. I usually start by moving the smallest variable. So that'd be the 2x. I'm going to subtract 2x and subtract 2x. So I end up with 5x minus 9 equals 36. Now I'm trying to move everything away from the x, so I'm going to move this minus 9 by adding 9 plus 9 plus 9. And I end up with 5x equals 45. Move up here. So if 5x equals 45, I would divide by 5 on both sides. And I would end up with x equal to 9. Now, you would think we were done because we've done all the hard stuff. But we still have one more piece to answer, because the question doesn't want what x is equal to. It wants the measure of angle FGH. Oops. Well, FGH, you'll notice, is the big angle, FGH. Now, theoretically, I should be able to just plug it into 1 and then double it. But I'm going to plug it into both just to make sure our answer works out correctly. So I would take that 9 that I just came up with, and I would plug it into 7x minus 9. So I'm going to do 7 times 9 minus 9. Let's see, that's 63 minus 9, which is 54 degrees. And then on the bottom one, it would be 2 times 9 plus 36. That's 18 plus 36, which is also 54. So that tells me that I'm right, because I did come out with 2 angles that were exactly equal. And remember, that's what we said back here, is that those angles should be equal. And then if I want the entire angle, I'm just going to add those 2 together. So 54 plus 54. And I'm going to find that that's 108 degrees total. Okay, so that's it for number 10. Let's move on to number 11. Okay, on to number 11. Number 11 is actually pretty easy. It just says that I have a 22-degree angle and I wish to bisect it. Again, it's important that you know what the word bisect means. Bisect means to cut something exactly in half. So if my angle is 22 degrees, and I draw a line that cuts it in half exactly. What this question is asking, how much would I have on each side? Well, we're taking 22 and we're splitting it in half, which is like dividing by 2, and you should find that it's 11 degrees. So the measure of the angles that are formed are each 11 degrees. That's all that question was asking you for. Nice and easy one. And number 13. 13 gives us that we have an angle 8x minus 40, and I'm looking for its supplement. And remember that supplement means I want an angle that would make a sum of 180 when added to this angle. And normally we would find that by subtracting from 180. Like if I said I had a 50-degree angle and I want the supplement, you would do 180 minus 50 and get 130. So I'm going to do that same thing, except I can't subtract quite as easily. I'm going to take 180 and subtract the 8x minus 40. And what this is really saying is that I want to take 180 and I want to subtract this and I want to subtract this. So if I do 180 minus 8x, there's nothing I can really do with that. Those aren't like terms, so I can't put them together at all. But here, 180 minus negative 40 minus negative 40 is really like 180 plus 40. And 180 plus 40 is 220. So that 220 came from these two. And then I still have my minus 8x. So 220 minus 8x would be your final answer on that one. Okay. So now, in terms of what you can do to study, here's my recommendation. I want you to study vocab. And I gave back your vocab quizzes today just so you could do that. Okay? And the vocab list is still up on my website. I want you to look back over examples and maybe try a few on your own. Specifically, that last set of examples that we did in your notes. Remember on Friday we did I think it was 7 examples of just random problems. So the last page of your notes, and that's your last page before the vocab, because you do have a vocab thing stapled on the back of your notes, but the last page of true notes was just a bunch of examples. Okay? I want you to make sure that you can do these 4 problems. And maybe even more. Remember, you could do the rest of this worksheet, the rest of the study quiz, what's it called? Section quiz number 1. Okay? So try some more of those. And if you are stuck on a particular topic, I do want you to email me. And you can email me right from the home page of my website. Okay? Please don't hesitate to contact me. I will be here early tomorrow morning if you want to stop in for help before school. Have a great day.